Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you with Jewelry with Jen for the DeKalb County Library System. And today we are going to be making not one, not two, but 3 pairs of earrings. I have started to incorporate a few more components into the work to go with some wire wrapping, just so that you have some really neat options to work with. So today we're going to be working a little with chain, and you've seen me do some work with chain before, and I wanted to extend that a little bit. And I made a pair of earrings at Christmas time that people seem to really like. So I thought, we'll do some more of that. And I wanted to kind of escape from my usual really lively, lots and lots of color, and do some more neutral shades or something that you can wear with just anything. So we're going to do some pretty things today, and I want to get started because, again, 3 pairs of earrings, so we have a lot to do. So what you're going to need are your normal pliers, your round nose, chain nose or flat pliers, and cutters. You'll also need a ruler. You'll need some chain, and you can decide what size you want, what size of chain you want to use. It just needs to be big enough for if you're using jump rings or head pins or whatever. It needs to be large enough for the pins to fit through. I don't want to confuse you with a lot of dimensions right now, but I'm using 2x3. The little links are 2x3, which is pretty small. So I've discovered that 22 gauge wire and 24 gauge wire fit through those little loops just fine. So today we're going to be using, for the first piece, we're going to be using 24 gauge wire to make this little pair of earrings with paper beads. So you're going to need those, and you're going to need some chain, and we're just going to make a nice little dangly pair of earrings. And what I did with this was use some copper wire and a gold chain peeking through there. So I have 2 different colors just kind of peeking through there, different kinds of chain and wire. You don't have to do that, but that's just what I did, and I have gold head pin. So again, you need your usual pliers. You're going to need 24 gauge wire, I think, for everything. I don't think I'm using any 22. Yeah, 24 gauge wire, or the wire of your choice, 24, 22 gauge. You're going to need chain. I'm using 3 different colors of chain for the 3 different pieces that we're going to make. I'm also using paper beads, and I'm using metal beads, just little metal beads. And those of you who get kits, you're going to get different colors of chain, different colors of wire, and different colors of metal beads and paper beads to work with, so that you can just create to your heart's content. And again, you need a ruler. Those are the things that you're going to need today. So let's get down here to the other camera and let's get moving. So the first one that we're going to do is this nice little, I'm calling it, I did it in the same way that I did the cha-cha bracelet that we did last year, actually. And it's the same premise. We just put 2 or 3 beads on each chain link until we have a little nice little bunch of dangly beads to hang from our ear. It's really cute. I put it on and I just love it. So I can't wait to make the other one so I can actually wear it. And we're also going to make our own head pins with a little knot on the bottom. So you'll see that it's just got that little knot. Let's see if I can get this a little clearer so you can actually see it. Oh, come on. Focus. So we've just got that little knot on the bottom. And we're going to use 24 gauge wire to do that. And then we have ear wire that we're going to put it on. So let's get going and get started on our little piece. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is get a little piece of chain. I just took an inch of chain to make this nice little bubbly pair of earrings or earring. So all of this is on 1 inch of chain. 1 little inch produces all of that. So I've got 1 inch of chain here. And I'm using paper beads. These paper beads come from Africa. And unless you make your own paper beads, the beauty of them is that they don't match. So I've just got beads that kind of look similar to the ones on the other earring, and that's as close as you can get. And the thing that I am going to have that's running through there that's the same are little copper 4mm beads. So we'll be just kind of running those through there just to give it something, so a little bit of continuity. So I'm going to show you how to make these head pins, and then I'll show you how to attach it to our chain that I just lost. Where'd my little piece of chain go? There it is. See, it's so tiny. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is cut your chain whatever length you want, because it's your earring. It depends on how long you want it to be. I didn't want it to be too long. I want it to be wearable for work. If you want it a little longer so that you can wear it for a party or whatever. They're really kind of subtle because the colors in paper beads aren't that crazy bright. So it's entirely up to you how long you want to make them. But let's start with wrapping our beads with our handmade head pins. So the first thing that I need is 24 gauge wire. And I just have a couple of inches of 24 gauge wire because my beads are not that large. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this smaller one for the small bead. So let's start with that. This is about 2 inches for my 4mm bead, a little less than 2 inches for my 4mm bead, and that will give me enough to make the knot on the bottom, as well as the loop on the top, and to wrap my loop. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my pliers. I'm going to grab the very tail end of my wire, and I'm going to make a loop. And once I have my loop, I'm going to continue wrapping. And the wraps should be beside each other. So I'm just going to keep wrapping until I have 1.5 to 2.5 full loops. I can get that to focus a little better. Always trying to get this thing to focus. Please work with me. There. Okay, now when I go down here, it's going to unfocus again. It doesn't like movement. All right. So now that I have 1, 2.5 loops, I just want this loop to be just past the tail end. And then what I'm going to do is bend the tail wire up alongside my loop. And now I'm going to bring the tail, the very end of it, and curve it around and bring this tail down through the hole in my loops there. So I'm just bringing it down through there. I'm going to pull it through. Until I have a knot. So now I have a nice little knot. And once I have my knot, straighten that out a little bit. It's 24 gauge, it's very soft, so there, it's a little straighter. Now I can put my bead on. And I have a head pin. A little knot at the bottom keeps it from coming off. So now I can make my loop at the top. So I like to bend the wire back like that, so that when I make my loop, it'll end up right over the top of my bead. So I have a half a loop there. I'll bring it all the way around. There we go. Now I'm not closing this because I need to attach it to my chain. I wanted to show you how to make your loop and to make your knot on the bottom. Now we're going to do the same thing with our paper beads. Oh, and it ran away from me. Come back. Okay. So this white paper bead is not going to show up very well on there, so I'll put it in my hand. So we're going to do the same thing with our white paper bead. Now what you want to do is make sure you have a good 3/4 of an inch or so to an inch on either side of your bead when you put your wire through. So that'll tell you how much to cut. So there's my wire and my bead. And then I just want to make sure I have at least 3/4 of an inch to an inch on each end so that I can make my little knot and my little loop. And that'll give me enough. It may give me too much, but that's better than not having enough. So I'm good here. So what I want to do again is take my pliers, grab the very tip of my wire, and make a loop. Teeny tiny little loop. And then I'm going to keep rotating until I have 2.5 full rotations. There we go. You can do 1.5, you can do 2.5. I like 2.5 because it gives me a nice, pretty knot. So there's with the tail end, and I go just past it. It can be 2.25. I just like to go just past it so that when I bend my wire up, the end of it won't get caught in the tail of my wire. So now I'm going to again bend my wire, make it into a little loop, loop it around until I get to the opening in my loop there. And I'm going to put the tail end of my wire through. Works better if I don't have my pliers in there. And then I'm going to pull it until all of the wires through. And you can use your fingers like I did the first time. You can use your pliers. It's really not that hard to do with the 24 gauge wire. It is very, very soft and very malleable. And now I have my little knot. Yay! And again, I'm using 24 gauge. You can also use 22 gauge or 20 gauge. And remember, the bigger the number, the smaller the number, the bigger the wire. 20 gauge is a lot harder to make these knots, but it's also very strong and bigger, so you can see it more. And it just depends on the look that you want. So there's my little knot right there under my bead so that the bead won't come through. And now I'm ready to make my loop. So I'm going to bend the wire back like so. put my pliers in. I'm going down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers because it doesn't really need to be that big a loop. I'm going to bring my wire over the top of the pliers and down the side of my bead. And then I'm going to turn my pliers until they're horizontal on top of the bead here. So there's the bead down the side, pliers on top. Bring the wire all the way around and under my pliers. So it's between the pliers and the bead, and I'm ready for my wrap. And again, notice I'm not closing it because I have to attach it to my chain. Let's do that one more time. This time I'm going to cut it. So there's my bead. I can put my wire in there, grab my ruler and check and make sure I have at least 3/4 of an inch on each side of my bead. And once I have that, I am good to cut. 3/4, 3/4. So there's 3/4 there. And 3/4 there. And now I can cut my wire. And really, you're better off cutting it a little bit too big than too small, because too big you can work with, too small, you have to start over. Again, I'm grabbing the tail end of my wire, making a loop around the very tip of my pliers, and I'm going to keep going. One loop. See, I've got a space there. I can just squeeze it together so that space disappears. 2 loops and a half. Now see that space in between my wire? I just squeeze it so that the space is gone. So now I have a nice, closely wrapped loop. And I just take my wire, bring it up alongside my loops, curve it around until I can work my tail, the tail of my wire through the opening in my loops, just like so. And pull that through. And just keep tugging until I have my knot the way I want it. Now, I've seen some knots with the loop actually still sticking out, which is fine. It depends on the look that you're going after. I like mine a little tighter. I like a little bit of the loop to loop to show, but for the most part, I like a nice little tight knot if my bead is small. And there's my little knot. Put my bead on. I'm going to put it on the other side because, again, these come from Africa and the hole on one side is really big. On the other side is not so big. So I'm going to slide that in there so that the knot rests against the hole that's not quite so big. So now I know it's not going to come out. That's another reason you can change size of wire when you're making your head pins, because if you want a bigger knot to fit a hole that's a little bit bigger, you can use larger sized wire to do that. Okay, I'm going to bend my wire back. I have my round nose pliers. Slide the wire down my pliers about 1/3 of the way and start my loop. Turn my pliers, bring the tail of my wire between the pliers and my bead, and stop. Now I have all of my components here and I am ready to attach everything to my chain. Now, again, the beads I'm using don't match, so there's not really any pattern that I need to use. But if I want to kind of make it so it sort of looks the same, I can start with whatever color is on top. This one has a blue toned bead on top, so I will start with that one. And that's going to go right up here on the second loop of my wire. Second loop because the first loop is going to have my jump ring on it. And if you want to, you can go ahead and put your jump ring just to have something to hold on to. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to try it without the jump ring, without the, not jump ring, without the ear wire on. See if I can get it to work for me. So I need to start by hooking this bead through my second loop in my chain. So let's do that. So I take the tail in, I slide it through my second loop, and I slide that loop down, that loop in the chain down until it's inside the loop of my bead. See if I can get a good focus on that. It doesn't like it this close. Oh, there we go. Okay, so tail end is down there in the second loop. So now what I want to do is wrap that closed. And I just wrap that around. As soon as I move it, it loses focus. Just wrap that tail around the bottom of my loop. Tail on this one was very short. I usually like to give myself at least 1.5 to 2 wraps. This one I'm gonna barely make 1.25, I think. Oh, 1.5 it looks like I'm gonna get. I'm gonna ease that tail down so that it's not sticking out. There we go. So there's my first one, my first bead on. Let's see what we have next. My next one is one of the copper beads. So I'm going to take my little copper bead here. Tails on these are very short. I don't know what I was thinking, but whatever. It works as long as I can get it wrapped around there at least once. I am good to go. So I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to put this on the same, in the same loop that I put the first bead. And again, I'm going to slide that down in until that little loop on my chain is inside the loop on my wire. And I'm going to wrap that around. Until I have a nice closed loop. This is so tiny. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Get up there. I have a longer tail on the next one, so you'll get a better feel of what I'm doing here. These beads are teeny tiny. Okay, I'm just wrapping the tail end of my wire around itself, just underneath the loop, in between the loop and the bead. Till I have a nice closed loop. Trying not to use my fingers so you can see what I'm doing. Pliers don't want to cooperate. Okay. There we go. Let's do the next one and hope it comes out a little bit easier to see. I think it will because I have a nice long tail on this one. So the next one I'm going to put on, and it depends on how full you want them to be. See, the next one's going to go to the next little loop. Again, I'm going to slide the tail end through the loop in my chain, slide that loop down inside the loop of my bead. I have a nice long tail, so it should be easier to see me wrapping. So I'm going to move my chain out of the way, hold on to my loop with my pliers, and just wrap the tail end of my wire around as many times as you want. And this is very, very kind of bohemian, so you don't have to make them all look the exact same. It's very different. Each one can be different. And as you can see, I'm wrapping this around to make a little cap on top of my bead. See that? So I have a little cap on top of my bead. It kind of matches my little knot on the bottom. Why? Because I don't want to waste my wire. So now once I get that all the way wrapped as far as I can wrap it, and I have this little tail on the end, I have this little tail on the end. Let me see if I can get it up here where you can see it. This really does not want to focus. Come on. Somebody said it was because I don't have enough light, but I have 3, 4 lights on in here. Oops, I'm back. Okay, so this little teeny tail that I have on the end here, I don't want that sticking up. So what I'm going to do is take my pliers and just push it down until it's resting against the other wires. There we go. Nice, neat, and tidy. And then I'm just going to continue in that vein. I'm going to keep putting beads on each of my loops, each of my chain loops, till I have it nice and full. Let's put another one of these on. Let's see what we have next here. Yeah, let's go with this guy. Another one of my little copper beads. Slide that on, same way. One loop inside the other. And wrap the tail end around. Just underneath the loop. And when I can't go any further, I'm just going to push that little tail down so that my loop is nicely closed. And that tail won't snag on anything. And I definitely don't want it scratching my ear. Okay, what's next? Let's go with, I see on here that the little white one is on the bottom, so we'll save that for last. Yeah. And so let's go with this guy. Oops. Then on. Okay. Let's wrap it around. And again, this is 24 gauge wire. It is very, very soft, and it will do exactly what you tell it to do. You don't have to really coax it too much. Actually, all you need to do is coax it. You don't have to pull it or force it or anything like that, because it's very easy to work with. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and put this little blue one on. And again, sliding that in one of the little loops. Take the pliers, grab the loop, and wrap the wire around. And again, I like to kind of use as much of it as I can. I very rarely have too much, so that way I don't have to waste wire. And I'm going to push my little tail down. There. And we have a couple of little links left. Let's put this copper bead on, because on this one, the little white one is the last one. So I want to make them look as much alike as possible, even though they're not matching. I want them to look like they are. Let's get that on there. Slide that in that little loop. Come on, get in there. There we go. And wrap my tail around the bead. And it's really neat that I'm using the copper wire with the copper beads, because they kind of go, they really complement each other well. On one of the other earrings, I'm going to be using silver beads and silver wire, so it's really neat. Wrapped around there. Here we go. Good. And last but not least, my little white bead. Let's put that on there. See what it looks like so far. Oh, isn't that cute? Okay, oops. I'm back here. And let's slide that on. Yeah, get that in that little ring. Let me get back in there. I have one bead and it has to give me a problem. Come on, come on, come on. Go in. There we go. And wrap it up. Push down the end. And we're good. There we are. Isn't that pretty? So now, nice. Time to put the ear wire on, and we're all finished. Oops, don't need my cutters. So I just want to open up my ear wire, and just as a little hint, usually the opening if you're using standard ear wires that you purchase. The opening is going to be on the same side that the long tail is. So all you need to do is go down to that one side of the ring, the side that's closest to the tail of your of the ear wire, and flip it up. You don't want to pull it apart. You want to, oh boy, this is a strong one. Flip that up like so until I have it open. So many beads on here. I need to find that loop. There it is. Slide it into my top loop here. If I can get it to cooperate. Get in there. There, finally. Close it up. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a pair of earrings. How do you like that? Cute, 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 cute. Love them. One pair. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next pair. My next pair everything out is going to be this really nice, pretty cascade. It's kind of like a waterfall, a silver waterfall, or it can be copper, or it can be bronze, or it can be gold. It depends on what colors you want. Excuse me, oh my goodness, isn't that pretty though? Oh, I love it. So we're going to be using chain and beads that are the same color. You can use beads that are a different color. I just wanted to do something a little different than I normally do because I'm always doing all different kinds of colors. So this time I decided to just make it monotone. And I love it. I put this one earring on and I went, yay, I can't wait to make the other one. So what we need for that again is chain, and the length is entirely up to you. As you can see, they're all different lengths. I did not make it one length. I just wanted to make it something that looked natural, and that looks like it just falls naturally. So what I've done is cut several pieces of chain in about 2.5 or more lengths, or 2.5 or more inches. And then I can cut it off to match the one that I already have. The biggest thing that I want to do is kind of match up where the little balls end up on my chain. The distance of the balls from the top of my loop. And that doesn't even have to be either. You can do this completely, make this a completely bohemian piece. So I've already got these cut, and I just need to do one more and then show you how to attach everything. But I want to show you how to attach the balls to the chain. It's very simple. You're just wrapping it on just like we did on the previous earring. Oh, I keep looking at it. Isn't that cute? Anyway, so the one that I have not done, let's see, I have this one that's, I have one on here. I keep dropping it. My goodness, I have dropsy today. I have one on here that's very close to the top. I think it's about 4 loops away from the top. So I have 4 loops on the top, and that's this one. So I've already got that cut. And then I have one that is, I think, 8 inches from the top, or 7. Yeah, 7 inches from the top. And that is this one, I believe. So I've already got those 2 cut. And the next one that I need to cut is this one. So it's got a very short bottom and a longer top. So it's got 3 links on the bottom. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 links on the top. Yeah. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The rest of it's already cut. So I'm going to cut my links. I'm going to take my wire, and I have a piece of chain all ready to use. If I can get this thing to focus again. Thank you. So I'm going to take my chain and I'm going to count my little links. Now you don't have to do this on the first one. I'm just matching up what I already have. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 links on the top and 3 links on the bottom. So let's see here. Easiest way I find to count them, because they're so tiny, is to spread this out and count them with a little pin. And I'm just going to use my little ear wire. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Did I say 11 or 12? Oh my goodness. It's on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So I need to cut off at the 12th one. And this is just the way I do it. You can do it a different way. But this way I know exactly where to cut. So number 11 is right there in my ear wire. Number 12, snip it off. So there's one piece of my wire. And then the last one is 3 from the bottom. Let me double check just to make sure. So there's my little bead. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it's a good thing I checked. I have 4 rings for my bottom piece. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and snip the 5th one. Okay, here we go. Ear wire, so I can count. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is hook these 2 pieces together with the little ball so that it looks like this. That's what we're going to do. I see my thing trying to focus again. It's like, what? What are you doing? Every time you move, I have to refocus. Stop moving. Okay, so now what I need to do is get some wire. Again, I'm using 24 gauge wire. And I'm using 24 gauge because because it doesn't have to be that heavy or that strong. You can also use 20 and 22. Again, you just have to make sure that your wire will fit through whatever size chain you have. And I found that 22 and 24 fit my chain. So what I want to do is just give myself again enough to wrap my loops on each side. And for this, I need about 3/4 of an inch to an inch on each side. So I'm going to just give myself 2 inches because this is only 4 millimeters. It's not that big. So I'm going to give myself just a couple inches, just measure it over here on my ruler real quick. Give myself a couple of inches of wire. And I'm going to make my first loop. Now I like to bend my wire back again so I can have my loop right on top of my wire. I like it centered. And I'm going to bring the tail end of my wire over my pliers. So now I have a little loop there. And I'm going to grab it. I could either wrap it with the round pliers inside the loop, or I can wrap it holding that loop on the side, which is what I'm doing. And I only need 1.5 to 2 little loops around, little wraps around in order to secure this. Now, what did I do wrong? I did not connect it to the chain. That's what. So I missed a step. So let's cut that off, cut that little loop off, and you get another tutorial on how to make your loop. Let's see if I can do it with what I have left. Not very much, but let's not chance it. Let's cut another piece of wire. That little piece is long enough for me to do something with later. All right. So again, I'm going to bend my wire back. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. It doesn't have to be that big a loop. Bring my tail up over my pliers and down the side like so. Then I'm going to turn my pliers until they're back on top of my wire horizontally and bring that tail under my pliers like so. And stop. Why? Because I need to attach it to one end of my chain. So I'm going to slide the tail of my wire into the very last loop on my chain. Slide it right inside my loop like I did the last time. So my chain is right inside the loop. And now I can wrap it. Let's wrap that around. 1.5. And I'm only doing 1.5 times because I don't want it to be that long. Just want it to be a subtle attachment. And 1.5 times is plenty. I just want to make sure it's completely closed, and that will make it completely closed. And once I can't go any further, I like to curve the end under. Just give it a little curve. And then push that end down against the other wire, against the tail. So now it's nice and close against the wire, and it won't hurt me. It won't jump out and bite me. So now I'm ready to put my bead on. Slide my bead on. And as you can see, I have a lot of wire on the top. I could have made this one a little bit longer, but it wasn't necessary. I gave myself about 2 inches, maybe a little more, and I didn't need that much. That's okay. Okay, bend my wire back again, like so, kind of at a right angle. Slide my pliers under and my wire down. My pliers about 1/3 of the way. Bring that tail over and down the side of my pliers. And I'm going to turn my pliers, clamp down again, and bring the wire under. And I'm going to stop. Why? Because I need to attach it to this other little piece of chain. So again, I'm going to slide my wire through the very last chain, or one end of the chain, I guess I should say. I want to make sure it's the last loop on whichever end I choose, and then let it slide down until it's inside the loop, and push the little chain out of the way so I can grasp my loop and wrap the tail around between the pliers and the bead. 1.5 times is plenty. Once I have my 1.5, give a little curve on there, snip it off. And I like to make sure that the back of my pliers is resting against the bead so I can cut it as closely as possible. Snip that off. Hold on to the tail so it doesn't go flying across the room in case it has an inkling to do that. I'm going to push the tail end down. And there is my link. Neat, huh? So simple. And the rest of it is about design. So what I did was just alternate between beads and just plain chain. And you can do this with just plain chain. You don't even need the beads if you don't want them. But I saw a picture of something similar to this, and I thought it was so neat. And I said, I'm doing that. And so now all I need, did I mention we needed a jump ring? We do. Jump ring. So now all I need to do is attach my chains to the jump ring the way I did the first one. And I did it with a plain, let's see, I have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 on here. I started with the plain one, then a bead, then a plain, then a bead, then a plain, then a bead. So that's the way I'm going to do this next one. So the first one I need to do is plain, and I didn't cut them any particular length, wrong one. So I can put these on and then cut the bottoms off if I need to match up with my other one. So now the proper way to open a jump ring. Take your pliers, find the little opening, which is right there, the little split. And then I've got my pliers on one side of the split, and I can just push down with the other, with my thumb to get it open. You never want to pull it apart, because if you do, you ruin your circle. I know I've said this many, many times, but I just like to say it every time. That's the proper way to open your jump ring, so that you don't have to worry about trying to get your circle back in shape, which is almost impossible. So now let's put our chains on. This is the easy part. So I'm going to put the plain chain on there. And I want this to be a mirror image. Well, I can take care of that when I put your wire on. So let's see here. Plain one. And then I have the medium length one that has 1, 2, 3, 4 on the end. That's the one I think we just made, isn't it? Yeah. Slide that on next. Then a plain one again. And then we have the one with the long tail. Let's see, this one has, yeah, very long. Here we go. Get on there. And I'm making sure that I slide the very last link of my chain onto my jump ring. And plain link, the plain chain, and my very last one. Oh, I put the wrong one on. Wrong. This one goes on next. And this is a design choice. It depends on how you want it to look. This one goes on the other side. There we go. And then the plain one. Very last link. And the bead. Here we go. Yeah. Pretty. And now all I need to do is slide my ear wire on while I have my jump ring open. Oh, great. We're taking this out of the bag, but I didn't. And I'm using an ear wire that has a silver bead on it, just so that it goes with the silver bead on my bead, on my chain. And that was not an accident. I did that on purpose. Some of them have them, some of them don't. I wanted it with one on there. Okay, so now let's see. I want to make sure that these are mirror image, and so the chain is on that side. Yes, the chain, the bead is on that side. So this one needs to go this way. Don't even think about it. It's trying to fall off. Going. And now I can close it. And the proper way to close it is to just push it back together. And I find one of the easiest ways to do that, that was my coffee maker, is to just squeeze the ends together and then make whatever adjustments I need to do afterwards to make sure that the ends are flush to each other. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is my earring. Isn't that pretty? They are so pretty. I love these. What do you think? Now, the thing that I need to do next is clip this to match. Because you can see I cut this really long because I didn't want to match it yet. So now I just need to clip it off so they all hang the same way, the same length. And that's what I would suggest that you do. Just pick whatever the longest chain is, cut it that length or a little bit longer, and then you can just cut it off to match the first one that you've made. And I changed this. You can see that this is a little bit more spread out than this one. So I need to change this to fit because I have this one's a little more bunchy, which is fine. But I decided that I wanted it to be a little bit more of an open fall instead of all bunched together. So let's give it a little clip. That's the longest one. I think that's about the same. And now all I have to do is clip them off until they match up. Now, the one thing that I like to do is put my hand under here, because when I clip it, sometimes it cuts clean and sometimes it just cuts in little pieces. And then that way I can control where the pieces go. So there we go. And again, it depends on how long you want them to be. This was pretty long enough for me, and it's only about 1.5 inches. But I've seen people make these so that they're long enough, I'm trying to get this layout, to go down to their shoulders, which is really pretty, just not what I need. Okay, clip that off a little bit. And again, they're not the same length. They're all different lengths. So it looks nice and natural. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Let's see what else we've got here. That's one thing that I can do is hold it up together. There we go. There's an idea. Let's hold them up. Now let's do a little snipping. And I would suggest that you just cut through one side of the loop, one side of the length, because they're really strong and it's kind of hard to cut through all of them. I mean, the whole length. There we go. Nice. Very nice. Aren't those beautiful? I love them. Yay! Now I can wear them. That's 2 down. Let's go on to the next one. Now, the next one I thought was really fun too, because there we go. We're doing the same type of thing. We're not putting any beads in this one, but we're using different colored chain. I just thought that would be so neat. I was trying to figure out kind of how to do an ombre effect, and I couldn't really unless you dye it or something like that. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So instead of it going from the bottom to the top, I decided to just put different kinds of chain on there, just different colors. That's it. Very simple. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And for that, all you need is different colors of chain. Whatever colors you like. I'm using silver, copper, and antique bronze. You need a jump ring and you need an ear wire. That's it. So what I've done is cut different lengths of wire. This is personal preference. It depends on what lengths you want. This is fairly short, a lot shorter than this one. And I kind of wish I'd made it a little longer, but it doesn't have to be. But I just wanted to give you an example of what you can do with different colors of wire. So I've got silver on the outside, copper are the next two on the next two on the inside, and then antique bronze next to that, and silver in the center. So you just decide what lengths you want it to be. I gave myself about 1/2 inch on the outside. And then just added a couple of lengths longer on the inside, if I can get this thing to cooperate with me. So then I've got my copper on the inside, and as you can see, it's just a few lengths longer. Okay, and then my antique bronze. And my silver one. In the center is just a few lengths longer than the second and third ones. Second and third ones I left the same, about the same length. And that's what I have. And I did that because I didn't make it a great difference, a great amount of difference, simply because it's going on a jump ring, and that's already going to make the lengths, make the center longer, and the one after that just a little shorter. It's already going to create that effect. So you don't really need to make that much of a difference. All right. But for my purposes, on the outside here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 links on the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the next two, the copper and the antique bronze. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the center. So just add 2 links for each string, add 2 chain links for each chain going on the inside. And again, personal preference. It depends on how much difference you want to have. Or you can do it like I did this one and just do graduated links. You don't even have to make them any kind of specific pattern. But that's all I did with that. I just cut them, take my jump ring. Again, proper way to open it. This way, I'm going to show you a different way. Just grab that jump ring on the side beside the opening. And you can take another pair of pliers, grab the other side and twist. And now I have a nice open jump ring. Easy peasy. And now let's put our chains on. Starting from the outside. Again, make sure you capture the very last loop on each of your chains. Just slide it on the jump ring in whatever order you would like. Okay, got my center one here. And give it all the way back. Until I get to the very last chain. And there we go. Now, before I close up my jump ring, I'm going to add my ear wire. And because there's no front or back to this, it doesn't matter which way I put it on. I just slide on my ear wire and close my jump ring. And there we go. There's my earring. I have a lovely pair of waterfall earrings. Isn't that pretty? I love them. They're so easy. My thing is trying to focus again. It's like, you're moving. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. There are our earrings. Set them all up where you can see. And last but not least. So again, those of you who get kits, you will have different colors of wire, different colors of chain, different colors of ear wires, and you're going to have more than you need to make this any way that you like. To make these any way that you want. You don't have to do in my exact same design. You can redesign it any way you want because you're going to have plenty of chain and wire to do it with. I just wanted to give you the basics on how to do this. It's so easy. You can put these together in about 10-15 minutes, with the exception of maybe this one. It takes a little bit more work. This one, 5 minutes tops, as you can see. This one is the second longest. And again, that one probably takes 5 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes per earring. And it probably takes you 15 to 20 minutes tops. This one, half an hour maybe. This one, 5 minutes. And you have 3 lovely pairs of earrings that you can wear for just about any occasion. And it depends on how you want them. You don't have to use paper beads. You can use a different kind of bead. You don't have to use silver beads and make it more monotone. You can alternate your bead colors. And by the way, you're going to get several bead colors in your kit. So you can make this any way you want. That's it. That's our tutorial for today, and I hope you liked it. And there are our earrings. Stop moving, stop moving. And I couldn't resist. Love, love, love. So much fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know. Please also let me see what you make, because I would love to see which of these you make. Everybody always has a favorite, and no matter whenever I make earrings, and I like to do at least, I rarely do less than 3, but sometimes it's only going to be 2. This probably should have been 2. I don't know how long this took, but anyway, well, I like to give you lots of choices, and everybody always tells me which ones they like best. I cannot stand it. I need to put the other one on. Everybody always tells me which ones they like best. Oh, wrong one. And everybody has a favorite. So I would love to know what your favorite is. And I would love to see what you make. Please show us. Please post it on the library Facebook page, because we want to see. I want to see, and give me your feedback. Let me know if there was anything that you didn't understand, that you couldn't see. Maybe if I was out of focus. I don't know what's going on with my camera these days, but let me see let me know what it is that I can do to improve, if at all possible. Again, I have 4 lights on. I don't know what else I can do with lighting. I don't have a ring light or anything like that. Can't afford it. But anyway, I hope that everything was good and that you could follow it. If not, please let me know. If so, please let me know. Please let me know what you like. And if you have any suggestions of things that you would like to see, I would like to know that too. And you can send that information to me by email at jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. Whenever I get an email there from somebody, I'm just ready to clap my hands. So please let me know what you think, and tell me how you like this or didn't like this, and give me any suggestions that you can. Until then, please continue to have a great 2022. Count your blessings. I'm glad I'm here, and stay safe. We'll see you next time, or you'll see me next time. Bye-bye.